Chapter 32 of The Princess and the Goblin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Princess and the Goblin by George MacDonald. Chapter 32. The Last Chapter. All the rest went up the mountain and separated in groups to the homes of the miners. Gertie and his father and mother took Looty with them, and the whole way a light, of which all but Looty understood the origin, shone upon their path. But when they looked round they could see nothing of the silvery glow. For days and days the water continued to rush from the doors and windows of the king's house, and a few goblin bodies were swept out into the road. Gertie saw that something must be done. He spoke to his father and the rest of the miners, and they at once proceeded to make another outlet for the waters. By setting all hands to the work, tunneling here and building there, they soon succeeded, and having also made a little tunnel to drain the water away from under the king's house, they were soon able to get into the wine cellar, where they found a multitude of dead goblins, among the rest the queen, with the skin shoe gone and the stone one fast to her ankle, for the water had swept away the barricade which prevented the men-at-arms from following the goblins, and had greatly widened the passage. They built it securely up and then went back to their labors in the mine. A good many of the goblins with their creatures escaped from the inundation upon the mountain, but most of them soon left that part of the country, and most of those who remained grew milder in character, and indeed became very much like the Scotch brownies. Their skulls became softer as well as their hearts, and their feet grew harder, and by degrees they became friendly with the inhabitants of the mountain, and even with the miners. But the latter were merciless to any of the corpse creatures that came their way, until at length they all but disappeared. Still...
But, Mr. Author, we would rather hear more about the princess and Gertie. We don't care about the goblins and their nasty creatures. They frighten us, rather.
But you know, if you once get rid of the goblins, there is no fear of the princess or of Gertie.
But we want to know more about them.
Someday, perhaps, I may tell you the further history of both of them. How Gertie came to visit Irene's grandmother, and what she did for him, and how the princess and he met again after they were older, and how... But there! I don't mean to go any farther at present.
Then you're leaving the story unfinished, Mr. Author?
Not more unfinished than a story ought to be, I hope. If you ever knew a story finished, all I can say is, I never did. Somehow, stories won't finish. I think I know why, but I won't say that either now. The end. End of chapter 32. End of The Princess and the Goblin by George MacDonald.